guys, Long here. I'm very excited to read you another story for Black History Month. And here we go. This is called Radiant Child, written by Javaka Steptoe, and it's the story of a young artist named Jean-Michel Basquiat. Really, really fun artwork. You're going to love this. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double dutch, and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of being a famous artist. In his house, you can tell an artist dwells as he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere. Jean-Michel draws from morning until night with a serious face amid a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. At night, images enchant Jean-Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow they're always still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Matilda, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. Most important, she lies on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel and his father's old work on his father's old work papers. So they're saving and reusing paper. That's great. From her, he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads to him or in the theaters and museums they visit. Art is the street games of little children in our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning for ordinary things. In the museum. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art, reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work. This is how Jean-Michel learns what it means to be a famous artist by reading the biographies and information underneath the artwork and just looking at it himself. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father Gerald plays jazz records. Mama Matilda cooks arroz con pollo and calls Jean-Michel mi amor. The energy and life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. Very happy home. As time goes by, Jean-Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused, and Matilda gives him a book to calm his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones and skulls and other body parts, and Jean-Michel draws from it until he knows all of it by heart, and he is no longer afraid. Back at home, Jean-Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel, but sits by the window singing only to birds. Jean-Michel is confused and filled with a terrible blues when Matilda can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are still not the same. As Jean-Michel grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing his artwork to show, telling her that one day I will be in a museum when I am a famous artist. So he still sees his mother too. A teenager now, Jean-Michel decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day. With a sly look and a twinkle in his eye, kind of excitement, Jean-Michel leaves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, a concrete jungle where only the tough survive. He's going for it. Wants to be famous. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, Jean-Michel stays with friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. So he leaves artwork everywhere. He can't stop. At night, Jean-Michel spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passers-by. Under his art, he signs the name Simone instead of Jean-Michel. Everyone wants to know is, who is Simone? Hmm. Simone moves from street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color composition and line, collaging and painting on anything he could find. His art is still not neat or clean, and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. Everybody loves it. With his magical charm, Jean-Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone when the radio and TV are on full blast. Now, in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and opens books and paints into the night, and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean-Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is all his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child, but in his heart, he is a king. So he draws crowns for himself and others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands, Jean-Michel still visits his mother when he can, and his most and at his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is in his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist. Thank you for reading this wonderful story with me. I had so much fun. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.